self-quarantine chat. My special guest for today is actually my special guest for tomorrow. So it is another open mic evening. Anybody who is interested in joining in, willing to put themselves on family appropriate video, are welcome to buzz me in Messenger or in the comments. And we will bring in some callers just like we did yesterday, chat up what we're doing to avoid the temptation to go outside, what travel topics we're interested in. Feel free to message me as we get going. We had one person who is maybe going to join and is still in the car, so we will defer that for another day when there's a better setup. If you're doing a app from a mobile phone, it requires an app install, and so that can take a few more steps to sort out. If you're on a laptop, desktop, browser based, it's really slick. There's no install needed to do, so we can hand you a link and you can pop in, and tech willing, we're able to buzz people in. Let's see. Oh, we've already got people joining in. Yes, thank you. I see one of our guests coming up for next week that I'm trying to get. I see she joined in very early in Tokyo, and that's a guest we're hoping to have. David Young is I think still in Mexico. If you can put in the comments, I know you were trying to get back to the U.S., but still enjoying your Mexico trip. So you probably didn't rush at the top speed to get all the way over there. Oh, I see the usual suspects. If they want the Minnesota gang coming on, we can bring back Aaron. JP, you want to come on video? If you say yes, I will message you, send the link. Oh, David is back in Seattle. All right. I'm going to text JP, see if we can get JP from Portugal here. One of the most well-traveled people in the world. Incredible gentleman, teacher, scholar, business person. Let's see if we can pull him up. He's my target for today. So, and he's not shy. So we'll see if we can get him. Let's see if we can get him on. All right. Oh, lots of great travelers tuning in. Oh, he's already in bed. That's right. It's Europe time, so we're getting the Europeans to dial in is a bit of a challenge. we'll get JP on for one of the future ones. Let's see. Got somebody else here. We're doing the one person operated call in. We'll see if we can get this, and then I'll stop harassing people, and we'll get rolling either way. All right. Well, we hadn't been out. My wife and I had not been outside for 2 or 3 days, so we did slip outside yesterday. I don't normally own a car, but we've got a rental car during this period for when we need it. Rates are, of course, very low, and happy to keep the rental agency employees having something to do, which means they get to come to work, and hopefully they get maybe, even if it's reduced hours, they get some portion of what they had been used to. And so we didn't actually step outside the vehicle. It was quite chilly time in Seattle. It got unseasonably cool all of a sudden, and so we just drove around different areas, taking in the views of Puget Sound, taking in the gorgeous view. Not too many people out, but my wife did joke. She said, "This is American style, shelter inside," when she sees a guy who's just spinning in circles on rollerblades, enjoying himself like he's doing a dance. And so that was our slice of life. That was classic American, classic Pacific Northwest. I'm new to this region. Seattle is part of what's referred by locals as the Pacific Northwest. So roughly, I guess you could extend it to Canada, British Columbia areas like Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, but it's very much divided by the mountains that are not far east of here, and then I guess it's inland northwest for people that are on the other side of the mountains and heading out to Spokane, and that very different climates, very different cultures. Those that know where I live know that uh, uh, know that the weekend the only convenience store uh, uh, on my street that's regularly open is a pot shop. So marijuana products are legal. I've never tried, haven't been that curious, but it is something distinctive of Seattle life that we can walk down the street, see people getting out of the Facebook offices, the Google offices, the Amazon offices, and lighting right up as they head out the door from their work. Of course, now they're all at home, and we've been wondering what these. Now, Facebook famously has wonderful food. Google has wonderful food. Amazon has almost nothing. I don't. They don't even have free liquid creamery. They just have the powdered stuff in the coffee, as I understand. So their employees, by staying at home, are used to having to fend for themselves. But in terms of Facebook and Google, we've been wondering what these people end up having to do to feed themselves at lunch when they're used to these wonderful buffets. And the new Google campus is right between the end of Lake Union and a number of the core Amazon buildings, and I always figured that one of the great recruitment tools for them would just be to have giant open windows at their cafeteria, so all the Amazon employees could look in and see the Google food. Uh, that one person that's maybe about to join in, just helping with the tech support. All right, we need a top production crew to do all of this together right now. It's just me and you, and that's a lot of fun. But I need to type and do a few of those things. All right. So we have one guest who may be popping in just a moment. Let's see. Oh, here he comes. All right. All right. Have we got David? All right. I'm going to put you on the live stream. So yep, you don't have the video playing, so we're good. We won't hear the audio twice. I'm going to pop you in the stream. All right. All right. We've got David. He just returned. He was traveling in Mexico when a lot of the restrictions came in. So tell us about Mexico and tell us how you got back to Seattle yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Originally, I was in Aeromexico. Then they canceled the flight. Good thing Delta. I had to call Delta, and they put me on Salt Lake City. Uh, Mexico, Salt Lake City, Salt Lake City to Seattle. So that was pretty good. Salt Lake City was very empty. The customer officer wasn't very happy. It's like, what are you still doing in Mexico? Because he gave me that cold stare. But, he let me in.
So I think you look like you're at home. You're not in a rendition facility or
Oh,
anything.
no, no, no. I mean, actually, in Salt Lake City, I see there's still other bunch of flight from Delta, like Puerto Vallarta. There's a bunch of other flight. I guess Delta's still flying there. Yeah.
Hmm. So tell us what you were doing in Mexico. I don't know if you had to cut it short, but what were you
Actually,
visiting?
I was in Guyana. I was going to Suriname, but they closed the border before my flight, so I ended up like flying to Trinidad and went to Tobago. Then I was like, okay, I still don't want to come back to Seattle. Where else can I go? Then I figured, oh, let's because I was originally going to go to New York City. Good thing I canceled that. So
Hmm.
like Mexico seemed like a good with the American airline miles. So I just fly to through actually with Trinidad to Miami to Dallas, then to Mexico City. And I found this tour actually offered by Julia from Spain. It was really cheap for like 8 day, very nice hotel.
Hmm.
It's like almost like a private tour for like a $900. So it was like, why not, But my wife had to go back first originally. I mean, back to Seattle. So I just traveled by myself. It was just only with like four other ladies from Guatemala and Argentina. I guess they also don't want to go home. It was
Hmm.
just nice, but just as I was traveling, the more restrictions start coming in. museums start closed, attractions start getting closed, restaurants start getting closed. So I was glad that I able to finish the tour. I had a really good meal last night at Mexico City, and I met with Vinay from
Okay.
London as well. So that was good. Overall nice trip. I mean, I used to just go to resort, but just get to see a lot of colonial town, which is nice.
A question from Aaron Hurd: is the Guyana Suriname ferry running again?
No, I was when my flight got canceled. I tried to go on the land border. All the ferry was closed. I would try to use the backtrack, which is like a speedboat. That was closed, shut down too. So there's no way to get across.
I see. So for
Yeah.
those, I mean, I haven't been. I went to the Guyanas about 15 years ago, so I don't haven't even kept up to date the logistics. What are the assuming everything's back to normal? What are your recommendations for the region?
Oh yeah, to go from Georgetown to Suriname was I think it's like $30 to take a taxi to the border. Then was I think it's pretty cheap, maybe $10 for the backtrack boat or the ferry. Then from there,
Mhm.
then you have to get another public transportation to the capital Suriname. But this look pretty easy actually. The
Hmm.
road's nice, so
What
yeah.
are some of the highlights?
Oh, I went to see the tallest waterfall in the world for the single drop.
Kacher Falls?
Yes, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, so I think that was a highlight. Georgetown was they say it was dangerous. I don't know, but
Mhm.
I hired the hotel car to uh, to take me around. But but the hotel did have interesting signs like don't even bother to go out anywhere other than just the hotel ground. I was like, okay, yeah, but there was a Hard Rock Cafe actually in Georgetown, so I went to
Really?
there. Yeah, yeah.
I remember there was a giant Cantonese restaurant the time I went there, and it happened to be a national holiday I didn't know about. So the days I was there, it
Yeah,
was
I went to
very
that.
deserted. And
Yeah,
actually, I
yeah,
had
I went to.
trouble there because what was it? Oh, I was trying to get the Suriname visa, and of course, that consulate was, or that embassy was closed for days while trying to figure that out.
Yeah, so e-visa now, like, so I got approved and
Yeah.
everything, and I emailed it actually. It's like, since now you close the border, they said, oh, the visa is good for for a while, I guess. They don't start until you use it, so that's a good news. I can always go
Hmm.
back, and now the airline willing to refund my money, so
Hmm.
it's credit. So I guess it's gonna be applied when the next time when I go there.
Hmm. Oh wow. Yeah. So you've taken. I've always admired your lifestyle, the amount of trips you're able to do, as well as your career. So I don't even know which of your trips to pick out. It seems like every country collector you're on a first name basis. You always say, "Oh, do you know so and so?" And it's always by first name. You're you're a social butterfly, and I think maybe that's a question I have is for somebody that's watching that has this dream to travel to a lot of places where there isn't much. TripAdvisor is not all that helpful. I mean, the standard sources, so that's how they've come to every passport stamp. How do you how have you been so good at making friends and connections, finding people to travel with?
Oh, I think as a thanks to EPS, right? So I met a lot of friends through EPS and just arranged trip with them. Then you get to meet more EPSer when you're traveling around.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll attribute to EPS.
No, that's didn't ask for an endorsement, but appreciate that. And so talk about pick out a few of the trips. I mean, you've been, gosh, as I said,
uh,
how many UN countries in the past 12 months has it been for you? At least 20, I would think. Right?
yeah, over 20. I'm about 178 right now. Still
Okay.
got 15 more to go. I was in Scotia recently.
Mm-hmm.
That was an interesting trip. So I use this company called Easy Yemen Travel.
Okay.
Be aware. So because I'm not really an island person, so because they only have flight once a week. So
Yeah.
originally I was going there for 1 week. I was like, I'm gonna be really bored. So
Mhm.
he told me like there is some kind of ferry I can take, get back to the mainland, and I can get back to Oman. So I
Oh,
said
really?
okay, let me book that one. Then like just before my flight, he's like, oh, I guess when the ship went missing. So there's no more boat. by the governor, so you had to fly. It's like, okay, so I had to like rebook on my flight and everything. I got there. It's like it was a nice island. But I got 7 days. That's a lot. But looking back, as uh, it's okay. Um, yeah, but when I got to island, find out like the picture he showed me, that ferry, it wasn't running for many years. And they were saying like, do not take any ferry because I guess the ferry is really like a fisherman boat, which take maybe 2 to 3 days, and the safety record is questionable. So then I find out that when he booked my flight there, is actually he booked round trip already, so he knew in advance there was no ferry. I mean, yeah.
So
So
what do you think of Socotra? I mean, yeah, a week is a bit long if you're not really into the outdoor stuff, but it is spectacular, isn't it?
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the scenery just is not. I don't think anywhere else you can see the scenery. Yeah, definitely. Lots of nice beach. Is nobody there. Yeah, and I also get to experience firsthand their hospital
Oh,
because
really? What happened?
I got some kind of food poisoning.
Oh,
Their hospital is really nice. It was funded by I think UAE,
okay.
so they have a lot of foreign doctor. It was like $2 for my IV shot or something. I get blood tested right away, so there wasn't anything infectious. But my wife also came down. But yeah, it was done one day. Then the next day, I'm able to back on track and see the rest of the island. Yeah, but that was one of the hardest trip I did. I mean, the hike, because I went to that infinity pool. You know
Oh,
which one I'm
yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
And I pretty much got sick on the way down.
Oh, yeah,
So you can imagine that. I think that was one of my hardest hike. Definitely, definitely the top three there. Trying to come down with my stomach.
And what's your ranking of the seafood on Socotra?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fish and even lobster. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the seafood is good, but after my food poisoning, really, I just stick to my rice every day.
Mhm.
Rice.
Yeah, I was amazed at the different preparations and the way with just very simple campsites they made these incredible meals.
Yeah, I ended up staying at Summerland for the whole week. Yeah, and I was trying to
Okay.
work from home there, but be aware the internet is really slow.
I did more or less that, and my group members weren't too happy with me because I had no interest in camping for like it was gonna be. I think some people camp all seven. Some it's like they camp day day 2 through 6 or day 2 through 5. So they've got like first and last night hotel or not even that. And I agreed to like one or two camping, and it wasn't what I enjoyed, and I was much I'm much of course, people that have lived on an island that size their whole life, like, oh, it's a really long commute to go back and forth, and it's like a 40-minute drive, and it's just crossing Mercer in normal Seattle rush hour can take 40 minutes, so it's a different perspective, but I liked commuting for those other days because that heat and the climate is really brutal, and I enjoyed also feeling part of I love a smaller destination where there's more or less the one hotel that everybody that's coming and going, whether it's UN workers, it's local business people. When I was there, the environment minister of the country was there. There's weddings, there's all kinds of people, and it feels like what I imagine travel out of these iconic hotels of decades past, out of an Agatha Christie story, these kind of hotel lobbies where everybody's got some sinister, interesting story, and I
Yeah,
like the rare places in the world that feel like that.
yeah, that's definitely the only hotel there.
Yeah, I think there's one little guest house just next door behind it, but as I understand, it's at least when I was there a year or 2 years ago, it was I'm sorry, a year ago, it was just, I don't think it sounded like they didn't even provide sheets. There was more or less mattresses and that. So Summerland was very nice, and I enjoyed that courtyard in the center and being part of town. So you went there. Now let's see, you had your Saint Helena an Ascension that was canceled, or
Yes, that was supposed to be in actually April 10, I think. So
no?
everything fell apart because British Airways canceled their flight, then South Africa, closed their border, and I was supposed to go to like Malawi, Maputo, Lesotho, Eswatini.
Oh wow, a giant
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
that was like I'm still on hold actually with Chase, trying to cancel my flight, but it's like they have this online thing you're supposed to
Mhm.
submit, but every time I send it in, they just say it's error. So I'm on 3 hour hold right now. I don't know if I how long I'll be keep holding for that.
Oh jeez. Yeah. It
That's the background music you've been hearing. It's a
uh,
Chase.
yeah, if they come on, we're gonna hear how you handle a customer service situation. It took me 2 months to get AA to give me back miles on a Hong Kong trip that I canceled, and because it was
Yeah,
the dates were
I
original dates were before, and all this stuff. Each one has their stipulations. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how it worked because I for the Johannesburg from Seattle, I booked BA points, and
Mm.
since nobody answered the phone, I had to submit it online.
Mhm.
So they give me like a travel voucher, but I don't know how that works because it's a point booking plus
Mm.
tax.
Huh.
So I wonder is a vouchers tax only, and they're gonna return my point because I
Mhm.
had to wait maybe when they're less busy to
Yeah.
find out how that works.
Yeah, I guess that's the people that have the most urgent situations should go now, and then the rest of us can sort it out. And
Yeah.
in my AA thing, the only reason I finally had to push it this week was I think today was the expiration of the ticket validity, after which because I booked it a year ago, that they wouldn't be able to do anything under any normal procedures. It would just vanish. And I had that horrible moment where on Friday I thought it was all worked out. I had gotten to an agent, got all the notes, I got the employee name, employee number, everything. Miles will be back in 48 hours. By Tuesday, I'm calling and I get to an agent and say, there are no notes here. Nothing is
Oh, that's the
happening.
worst. Yeah,
There's
no
no
notes.
record. We can't find the employee. She's not
Yeah.
working today, and we're not going to waive the fee. And I said, no, you just went through all of this to agree, and then they finally came back around and got it processed, and finally today I see and that was 140,000 miles from a round trip business class, so that was something significant to go to the effort to get back. So I was in some sense uh, lucky in that I didn't have any significant travel planned. I had a number of business commitments over this coming couple months that I had purposely set aside the travel time, so I didn't have these giant trips. So I did read that some travelers, some tourists are on St. Helena right now, and the flights have totally ceased, and so they'll have an extended stay. It sounds like, and it's a
Oh yeah,
delightful
I
place.
think
I wouldn't really
Mauricio
mind
just
it. I mean,
got
it'd be nice
out
if you want to get
recently.
home.
Yeah.
It's nice to get home, but if they're safe there, then it's a good
Yeah.
place. Now let's see. You also Saudi Arabia. When was that trip? That was
Oh, that was with Untamed Border. That was 2 years ago.
that was already 2 years ago. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time we talk and it switches. Now, did you were able to get around the country? There, I've only been to Riyadh and Jeddah. Do I need to go back for Maidan Salah or other places?
Oh yeah. I mean, actually, we got to Masandala, but they also like closed because they are doing some renovation. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what kind of renovation they're doing, but I guess they was getting ready for the tourist opening. So we actually we didn't see the main site. We just saw some site
Okay.
around there. But yeah, now I got like a 5 year visa. I definitely can go back anytime.
Oh, fantastic. Now, totally switching it up. I never see you on a winter weekend because you're always off somewhere skiing.
Yes.
So,
Unfortunately, Vail Resort, closed all their ski resort for the year. I mean, for the season. Yeah.
so
So
when it's back next year, we hope that all the ski resorts in the region, people that are coming from overseas, don't necessarily know where to go. I mean, they maybe have heard of Vail, some of these very famous. Are there some of the more regional ones or highlights of ski destinations that say a European traveler might not know about that are part of your routine?
um I mean, I used to go to Whistler a lot, but that's getting too crowded. I found like Park City is very convenient. From the airport to the slope, maybe 40 minutes.
Hmm.
And then you don't even have to stay in Park City. You can just stay in downtown Salt Lake City. It's very easy commute.
Hmm.
Other one I like, Sun Valley is very nice. I think
And where's Sun Valley? That's Idaho, is it?
yeah,
Or
Idaho. That's
yeah.
a nice place. It's kind of I think it's kind of high end, but it's quite
Mhm.
nice. I go to Banff a lot too. There's some nice resort there as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I think recently, well, it's like a few months ago, I went to Montana. There's the Big Sky.
Mhm. Sure.
It's actually quite nice. It's just because I find now like a lot of big resort has just too many people. The line just crazy.
Mm.
You're better off actually to some more further resort like Colorado is not bad, but just the traffic go from Denver to Vail,
I see.
that tunnel road could take 3-4 hours.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, especially in the
Mm.
winter time, they were just I mean, literally, it's very hard for the weekend trip because you either have to. I used to fly out Friday night, stay at the Denver area Friday night, and drive. You had to drive really early in the morning, maybe 4 in the morning, just to get to the slope, a decent time, and try to come back on Sunday night and take the early morning on Monday. So that I found that was kind of harsh. So I think at least a 3 day, trip would be better in that area.
Yeah, I've been wanting to. I haven't been to, other than for business, I haven't been to Denver or Colorado. I go to Colorado Springs. I go to business fairly often, but I haven't visited the national parks. I haven't. I skied some when I was in high school. A family, a child I babysit for, sometimes they would take me along on these road trips out that way, just so I could half the time the parents could go skiing and I watched them, and then I could go skiing when they all went out as a family. So I got to visit some of the famous Colorado spots then, but haven't been back for years. So
Yeah, because you
that's
have
where
the
you want to.
season pass. Basically,
Mhm.
that it's like a Vail, Breckenridge,
Mhm.
Beaver Creek, Keystone. There's like 5 resort you can go ski just with that season pass,
Hmm.
or within like maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Yeah, distance.
What's this Vancouver hotel deal you always send to me? That's not skiing, but I know you stop that way to eat on the
Oh
way
yeah, I
back to
guess
Whistler.
I still have my Microsoft discount, so I think
No, but there's like the 2 night thing. There's that Vancouver tourism
oh yeah,
site.
that's another one. But now I used the I booked the Sheraton Great Wall, Sheraton the Wall Center. That
Yeah,
hotel.
but what if somebody that doesn't have access to
Oh,
the
the
employee
corporate.
benefits? That's
I
like that
think
2 night prepaid thing. I always forget that.
yeah, I think there's
Yeah.
always like I think promotion from Vancouver Tourism or something like they basically offer you a American Express gift card for your stay. Like it just had to be one night even. You
Mm,
can access to some of the Pan Pacific hotel. I think you can always Google it. It's like something like Park City. Utah they offer those deal where if you stay and any $200 or something, and sometimes a lot of times those 3 night accommodation you can just cancel the last night and become 2 night. So in a way, like depend on the season, almost the Delta voucher will pay for your hotel stay.
oh wow! And are these are year round? These are summer only, winter only?
Usually for the ski season, yeah. But the
Okay.
Vancouver one, I think normally is in the
Mhm.
summer. I think, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We've gone to Whistler once, but every other time we've driven up, we've just stayed in Vancouver and Richmond eating, and we haven't gone farther. That drive from Vancouver all the way up to Whistler, that's another what? At minimum, it's about 3 hours from there. Is that
uh, About 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah, 2.5, 3, depending on traffic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what are the trips you're itching to recover? I mean, you had St. Helena
Uh,
Ascension canceled. What
I
are the
did
ones
the
you're
June trip to Tajikistan. I was gonna cross the border to
oh yeah.
Afghanistan to fly to Lahore. That was in end of June and beginning of July. So
Hmm.
that's still hanging on the air. I'm still hoping, but it really depends on how this whole virus thing, because they're not even processing visa now for Afghanistan. So
Uh. Yeah, it's a thing of our pursuit that you visit some consulates or embassies, and they're always like, "Do you really want to visit our country?" I've had a few of those moments, and as you said, now it sounds like they're not even processing as well as many
yeah, I don't
countries
know.
are
I
shut
think
down.
I'm just wondering if June is too soon. Looking the whole. I don't think we'll have any medicine or vaccination by then. Yeah, it looked like the whole 2020 is a question mark. What do you think?
We have a June trip for my wife's birthday to Australia that I'm not expecting to be taking, and uh, for her to be comfortable and to want to take the trip, it's a non-essential trip, is something very very different than what maybe essential travel is, or where the economy is trying to jumpstart. So I think we may just be tooling around the Seattle area at that point.
I just saw a $20 airfare this morning. Though you saw that one from
Oh no, I
LA to
didn't.
Miami for $20.
Oh wow. I'm surprised. I did have a business trip. I was going to be at the Travel and Adventure Show Dallas this weekend, and I took the credit from Alaska Airlines early just because I wasn't sure how policies would change, and I'd eventually use the credit. It was the $100 ticket, but I'm surprised that that flight actually hasn't canceled yet. Sunday evening, Dallas Love Field back to Seattle. It looks like they still have on the schedule the three flights from Dallas Love Field back to Seattle that day, and then DFW as well. So there are flights in the air. It's I can see them from my window on approach over Salt Lake Union. They come into SeaTac when they're coming in from the north. So
Well, you're definitely getting upgrade easily because yeah, I got upgrade all my segment. I'm sure it's a lot of seat available.
yeah, I think you don't even have to have status. They just let you sit as far away from you as
Yeah, actually, it's interesting. I was in Mexico. The restaurant already like they put sign on the table. Apparently, they want to distance people, apart.
Mhm,
So it's
mhm,
like there's a table like close, so you at least one table, in between each other in
mhm,
the restaurant. Maybe
mm.
that's a way to keep the restaurant open while social distancing.
Now, if there's any country's restaurant scene that I want to keep in business, Mexico is going to be very high on that list. Uh, it I just love the food, and I'm not an expert in it at all. When I've been fortunate to be on business trips and have colleagues that can show and teach me, um, it was always a wonderful education on the regional cuisines. It's much like I've enjoyed exploring food in China. So food wise, you and I have very different tastes. I'm always terrified of going out to dinner with you because it's going to be the fanciest Michelin multi-star restaurant wherever we go. So what are some of the ultra high end, ultra famous, you need to book in advance, all this stuff, the places you've chased that you've said those were really worth that effort, and somebody that's not as crazy as you should also consider trying. So three of them around anywhere in the world you want.
I guess the Noma in Copenhagen. I think they reopened. I'll say 11 Medicine in New York City. Um,
Hmm.
Probably French Laundry. Yeah, in Napa. That's probably the three top one.
Oh wow. Now, when you're going to a place that doesn't have that publicity, I mean, I know when you're targeting a destination like that, you've got some places in mind. But let's say you were taking this Tajikistan trip you planned.
Mm.
How do you eat when you go to a country that I don't think they have the Michelin's rating system in there? What
Uh,
what
I
would be your
usually
eating strategy in Tajikistan?
I usually check TripAdvisor. I mean, I don't look at the ranking, but I look at how many people actually review the restaurant.
Mm,
A lot of times you see a lot of people review it, not necessarily to be very expensive, but just
mhm,
popular. If I don't have any
mm,
recommendation, I will try with that.
mhm,
Also, I think Charles Vickley, his MTP apps.
mhm.
I have some nice restaurant recommendation for like I went to Pujo yesterday. That was really nice menu in Mexico City. So that was also a good reference as
What
well.
cuisine is that?
They have two tasting menu. One's supposed to be seafood, the other one's corn. Unfortunately, they only have corn vegetarian menu left. So me and Vina was like, okay, let's go with that. It was pretty good actually. It was like 7 course. Yeah, if you see my Facebook, the postings there.
Oh
Nice
wow.
restaurant. Yeah.
Okay, and then the third leg of this food thing is Taiwan. So
Yeah.
Taiwan, it's snacks, it's street food, it's there's such variety, and I mentioned on an earlier conversation from my earlier experience living in mainland China, there's dishes that are the same name as something I'm familiar with that when I go to Taiwan, it's totally different than what I expect. And there's other names that I'm like, this, I can't even figure out what this name is actually supposed to mean. So I just order it anyway. But certainly the menus are, I try to decipher them, and the food I pick and have some great winners. But what are some of the snacks, some of the food strategies you have for people that aren't Mandarin speakers that head out to Taiwan?
Oh, well, the Taiwan's famous for the night market, so you know, there's a lot of um, street food there, like oyster pancake. You know, they can never go wrong with that.
Hmm.
Or Din Tai Fung's actually from Taiwan, so the dumpling. So those
Mhm.
are quite good as well. And one thing other people don't realize is Taiwan actually have really good Japanese food as well,
Hmm.
because Taiwan used to be the former Japanese colony. So you can actually get I guess I would say like cheapest Japanese food for that quality in Asia other than Japan.
Hmm. So how about that? Some favorite Japanese restaurants around the world that are not in Japan, not in Taiwan.
Oh, I would say the I don't know the name, but like in New York City, there's a lot of nice one. Um, I think Taiwan. I think if you look at the top 50 restaurant in Asia, there was a few you can list it. It's in Taiwan as well. I think it's a Japanese chain. It's from Roppongi, maybe. Yeah, you can. I mean, if you just Google the top, yeah, I always try look up those top 50 that by country or by region. Those are and Taiwan also have the Michelin list now for a restaurant.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
yes, yeah.
I see Ted Nims. He says, "Hey, David, spotted you with my friend Vinay at Pujol this week."
Yes, yesterday. Oh no,
Let's see.
not yesterday. The day
ZB
before.
Finker
Yeah.
said, "Did anybody book Algiers to Houston Air France for $486? I guess that's a fair deal that just popped today." Yeah. David, you just got back. I don't know if you're even looking at fair deals.
Oh no, no, I'm staying home for a while. Everybody's giving me that advice now. Stay the whatever home.
Well, you've been on the road so long. Um, CB Fink
Yes.
is a
I finally.
tremendous traveler. I think he had to self quarantine in. So that's four seats. You can get that in first class. So that's not business class. That's first class. Normally for $8,000. Algiers, I think, is a fantastic city. It's uh, I'm not an expert in all of the safety aspects of it, but I mean the Casbah, that name is magical, and it is it is something to behold. And around the city, you've got I think just outside the city, you've got those Roman ruins on the coast. What Tarmeza? I'm forgetting the name. Um, it's a incredible destination. So certainly in terms of a destination, Zach, I'll recommend Algiers and Algeria. I think David, the visa's gotten a lot easier, right? Is it on arrival now or e-visa?
I'm not sure the status, but I have some friend got their visa rejected
Oh, really?
last year, but I don't know what's the current status. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, definitely nice place to visit. You go see all the Roman ruin. There's basically nobody there
Yeah.
except you. So yeah, definitely a good place to visit. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach is saying hopefully there's a Park Hyatt. So that's an inside joke for points travelers that the destination can only exist. Uh, the destination can only exist when they open a Hyatt. So there's a travel blogger blogs that when there's suddenly a Hyatt opening in a destination they haven't had one before, it's like, oh, now this country actually exists for you people, and there could very well be. I mean, Algiers is a substantial
I
commercial
think there's
city.
some international chain. I remember when I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting around the country, it's incredible. I mean, it's a gigantic country. I think when I was there, it was just when South Sudan had become independent, and you can check my geography, but it was somebody I think it was the airport security guy. He said, "Yeah, we're so happy about that because now we're the biggest country in Africa." And
Oh
And
no, but the airport is interesting because there's a lot of Chinese construction there. Like they saw me, like, look, I'm Chinese. It's like, come over. It's like, what? It's like, are you from China? Like they were looking for a bride. It's like, I'm from U.S. Sorry, and they let me go.
yeah, I guess the people Zach's talking about, they may not actually try to stay in Algiers. They just may need the transit visa because they'll probably fly there and then book what 10, 20 round trips. If that's a round, is that a one way or a round trip, Zach? I'm not sure, but I think there was this fair deal last well, it was 2018 Christmas Eve, and then what New Year's Eve, where these Cathay Pacific crazy fares popped up, and they were Vietnam to the United States, either in first class or business class round trip. For under, I think business class was like 600 something, and first class was only 100 or 200 more. And um, the thing is, you had to start the trip. Oh, he's saying it's one way. Yeah, but these Cathay Pacific, you had to start the trip in Vietnam. And so some people just got addicted. And I think somebody took like 17 trips over the course of the months, uh, just going back and forth, and then eventually had to get off in New York and not take that last one. So I don't know if that fair is still live. Zach, if you can share in the links what source you would hear about it, if it's on any of the public blogs or fair deal sites, these kind of things for a lot of the EPS crowd is perhaps a bit more new. Um, but just plunk a link if there was a fair deal site or a public blog that had that one, and we'll see if it's still live. But that looks like an incredible fair. And yesterday we talked about with Aaron and Michael Traeger about not as crazy as that, but Air France every 2 months has these mileage sale that are by a country or destination to another, and they work both ways. Zach is saying the Dan's Deals website, so dansdeals.com. It's a US based deal site. There are travel deals, and there are also a lot of shopping deals. So if you're say an RSS user like I am, I go by RSS feeds. If you separate by author, Dan is the founder. He usually is the one who posts travel related stuff, and then JJ, I think, is his brother. I may be wrong on that. He posts more of the shopping style deals. So I just have an RSS feed for Dan's posts and a separate one for JJ's. So all the shopping deals, the hand sanitizer, the diapers, everything that people are chasing after right now, that I don't pay much attention to. But the travel deals like Zach is sharing, those are the ones that I really go for. Yeah, as he says, it's great for travel and diapers. So a lot of Dan's readers have big families. So there's and diapers are a big expense for big families in the U.S. So there's a lot of diaper deals on the site. It's a great resource. They have both the blog, well, not just both. They have multiple areas. They have the blog. They have their own forums, which is similar to say a Flyer Talk or a Thorn Tree. It's very active. If you're going to get into the forums, even if you're going to dare post a comment on the blog, get used to the site, get used to the people on the site, the way that they interact with each other. It can be a bit brusque, but try to mirror how others do and how you ask questions and that, so you don't get chased away or intimidated, because it is a good community, and there's tons of useful information. I met Dan at one of his events in Muncie, New Jersey, and had midnight barbecue with him once. So got to see him in person once. He's a great teacher and great site and great resource. All right, so Dave, we got you past June of this year, Tajikistan. Let's see, United Nations. You said you're at 178.
Yeah, almost 179 with the Suriname, but no cigar there.
Huh.
But
So when
I went to the land border, and I hired a boat, so I was in the sandbar area. So I guess I would qualify as a transit, not an actual visit, since I didn't get a stamp.
do you have a time goal that you're trying to get the 193?
Originally it was be next February, but now we're gonna shift because the cruise I was supposed to be on with St. Helena, they only issue credit apparently on the same cruise. So I guess I would take that same trip next April.
Okay.
I will do all this Lesotho Eswatini next April. I think that will push me probably. I'm still trying to look at maybe first half next year.
Yeah. And then do you have one you're targeting, a party, a destination, a fancy restaurant that you're going to finish it at?
I'm gonna
Just
finish with a
whatever works
cruise.
out.
So, well, I don't know if cruise ship is such a good idea now, but
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Great to
sure.
see you back in the Seattle area. We will be back live. Tomorrow is the guest I thought was for today. So Dave is wonderful for stepping in. Tomorrow we've got the DJ from San Diego area, Mr. Slow Jams. I said I would only do it with him if he would wear the jacket. So that's the teaser for tomorrow. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. Thank you, David.
All right, thanks. Take care.